let me begin in Idaho with some shocking surveillance video of Bryan Kohberger. It's video that has been under wraps for almost 3 years. It is early afternoon, November 13th, 2022. You will probably remember that was a Sunday, and an ordinary college town in Idaho was just waking up to a nightmare that would turn that town, that college, and dozens of families upside down. Moscow, Idaho, and soon the whole world was just learning that a quadruple murder suspect was out there on the loose. And tonight, we can actually see what that murderer, what Bryan Kohberger, was doing while on the loose. He was out and about at a Costco and at a coffee shop and at a supermarket the very morning that he slaughtered those 4 kids in their beds. Out and about like he didn't have a care in the world, like it was any other Sunday. Gray Hughes was the first to bring this incredible surveillance footage to light. He hosts the podcast and YouTube channel Gray Hughes Investigates. Gray was also the first person to obtain the surviving roommate's 911 call. Welcome back to the program, Gray. It's good to have you. I just want to start by saying I watched your entire episode, and it gave me chills. I wanted to ask you your first thoughts upon seeing these nonchalant actions of this murderer just hours after he did what he did.
I think that's what it is right there. It's how casual he was, like it was just an ordinary day. There's no way any of those people around would have thought that he had any part in killing 4 people just, about 8 hours prior to that, you know? And he walks in there. I mean, he's kind of a clueless type person, though. It's kind of, I mean, it's pretty strange. You would go into a Costco without a card or something and think you can go in and buy a drink. It almost feels like that's why he was going around to these different places. He went there maybe to get that coffee drink, and then he goes over to, Kate's Cup of Joe. We'll probably see her in a minute. And
well, let me take you frame by frame. I want to go in. Gray, I want to go in sequence because you are really, really thorough in how you put this together. So let me start. This is Clarkston, Washington, which is important to say because it's hours after the murder, and Clarkston is 33 miles south of Pullman and Moscow. It's about a 40-minute drive, so he's a long way away from where these murders took place. But the first video I want to show is when he did that walk into Costco. I want to play it again because there's something significant. He gets stopped, and I think what we've all kind of figured out here is that the greeter, he's about to walk right by the greeter, and the greeter says, "Give me your card, your membership, and take me from there."
Yeah, and he just sort of stands there. He probably sounds similar to when he was talking to the police officer, the female police officer, when he was pulled over. It's interesting how he was holding his left hand when he came in. It was kind of oddly, shaped, and that's the hand that has the Band-Aid on it, right? So maybe he was trying to hide that hand a little extra. I mean, you can kind of see, look how he's moving in. See how it's kind of like, it's not really that natural the way he's holding it right there. See that? Very kind of strange. He doesn't sort of casually relax next to him. It's sort of a weird shape. And now he puts it in his pocket. I don't know if he just does that or he doesn't want somebody to notice his hand. But, he's just probably coming up with excuses like, hey, we don't have Costco's in Pennsylvania, so maybe I thought I could just come in and buy a coffee or something. I mean,
well,
I don't know.
Interesting.
We don't know what he's saying.
Maybe this is the only essence of a conscience that he might have, is that he's feeling the pain of the cut on that left finger that's bandaged, and maybe is, subconsciously hiding it because it's the only sign of what he's just done a mere 8 hours before this video was taken. I want to show him after he leaves this Costco and is basically rebuked by the greeter because he doesn't have a membership or at least a card. He walks out, and this is the white Elantra. He's driving that now infamous white Elantra out of the Costco parking lot. This is 12:37 p.m., which is such a significant time because Gray, this is 39 minutes since the initial 911 call came in to the police about what was found in that house.
It's always interesting to have those juxtaposition of different time frames like that. There's people, in a completely different place that are just now horrified by what he did, and he's casually walking around doing things that normal people do, and he knows while driving around that he's killed 4 people. It's crazy.
And we talked at length after this date about, a white Elantra. We're on the hunt for a white Elantra, and there it was that morning driving past Costco. Also, just want to mention that this is also the moment, Gray, where police are at the house and they are questioning roommates who are so shaken they can barely stand, and they're in the cold, in their, almost pajamas and shorts and T-shirts, trying to answer the questions of the police. They don't even know that Kaylee and Maddie are dead on the 3rd floor at this point. They don't even know that Xana and Ethan are dead. They just know something terrible has happened. I want to go to your next video, and it's just as he leaves that Costco parking lot, and he heads past a place called Kate's Cup of Joe. Can you walk me through this next video and what you saw where the Elantra passes by the coffee shop, and point out where it is on the screen?
Yeah, the coffee shop was just prior to that. So if you have to scroll back, he drove right through the actual driveway of the sort of a little miniature coffee shop, and then he does a U-turn, and you can just see, look how slow he's moving around. You'll see it again here in a second. See that little building right there in the upper right-hand corner with the roof on it? That's the coffee shop, Kate's Cup of Joe. The camera's coming from the chef store, and I'm the one that's zooming it around, just making it a little bit clearer. So you're just following the Elantra, and it comes in, and then it actually stops in the parking lot for a little bit. Now, I don't know if he's waiting in line to pull out onto the road, but he just kind of hangs out there for a while. And it seems like maybe Kate's Cup of Joe was closed, and he's just looking for coffee.
I checked. I actually checked because I wondered the same thing. And so the team, the Banfield team, checked and found out that Kate's Cup of Joe is open on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so he's there, and it's after 12:30 in the afternoon. In fact, this is a half-mile away from the Costco where he just left the parking lot, and it's a 3-minute drive by car. So if he left the Costco at 12:37, it's now 12:40, and this is when he's driving by. So Kate's Cup of Joe is open. It's sort of odd that he passes by, given weird, where he's about to head next. And before we head next, do show this part as the car drives to the right-hand side of the screen. It's just almost out of frame, but you're right. It does stop. And I think it stops for like, what, a minute or so?
Yeah, it just kind of sits there, and then eventually pulls out and turns left, and you can really watch it all the way around, even on the curve. You just keep watching into the distance where it's heading to the next place, Albertsons. But, I don't know what he's doing all these different times where he stops. Even when I guess even later when he leaves Albertsons, he sits in his car again for 5 minutes before driving away. So he does these.
So this is the video where the Elantra is going to come to a stop on the far right-hand side of the screen, almost in the middle of the parking lot, and it just doesn't move. Unfortunately, we've cut the video there, but I can just promise you that what Gray showed us was that Elantra stops. And it's hard to tell, but it doesn't look like it's waiting for traffic. It just looks like it might be grabbing a phone call or maybe a text. And Gray, that was important because we know that he was calling his mother and texting with his mother multiple times this morning. And this is only, again, 8 hours after he has slaughtered these kids, and only 3 hours since he drove by the home again to double check maybe where his knife sheath was. So let's move on to the next spot. He's past the Kates. He didn't stop there, it appears. And now he heads to an Albertsons, which is not very far away. It's like right next to the Costco. So here's the white Elantra coming into the Albertsons. So he's driven far away. He's driven 3 minutes by car, a half mile away to the Kates. And then he's driven back to this Albertsons, and he's into this parking lot.
Yeah, and then he's going to pull in next to a dark truck. And you can follow him all the way in. And, after this video that I made, I actually edited another version where, it's sequenced. So the timing inside the building is matched up with the timing of the car parking and then walking in. So it just looks like an actual, like a video, a film where it cuts to the next camera right when it's supposed to. But he parks right over there. If you watch it, I don't know if it keeps playing, but he parks next to a truck and then gets out.
Unfortunately, we've shown these two views of the white Elantra coming in, but what he does is he drives to the left-hand side of the screen and he parks way over in that left upper-hand corner. Let's roll the next video where he's now walking from his car and into the Albertsons, because of course what we're all watching for is trying to get a close-up look of his face, which is coming, just not right now. And I remembered, Gray, you were looking at this the first time and you weren't sure if it was him, but now, as you said, you sequenced, right?
Yeah, and then I was able to kind of tell, because with the dark pants and the shirt, that it was him. Later I did another live stream after that, but yeah, you can see him turn in, and then right there you pick it up on the next camera as he's coming in. There's a lot of overlapping time frames where there's nothing happening, but if you go with the actual time, you can sync it up.
And this is 12:46 p.m., so it's 9 minutes since he left that Costco parking lot. And like you said, by the way, these two parking lots, the Costco and this Albertsons, are just separated by a road. So he's sort of driven away and come back. Now, he walks out of frame here. Let's go to the next video where he's going to walk into frame, because he's walking in. There he is, walking into the Albertsons. We're getting a lot closer now to seeing him up close and personal. This is 12:49. And you can, clearly see that this is the same person who was walking through the parking lot. So it's easy to match that to this picture. And
that previous clip was also in the same 12:49. It was when, I think 12:46 is when he pulled in, because those two match up right with each other. So he goes around, and then he comes around to the self checkout. You literally see him move I don't know if you guys play that part, but he moves the bottle in front of the machine, and it registers, and he puts it down.
Play the next video as Gray is talking. I just want to make sure that we follow you and what you're saying, Gray. So here is the next video, Gray. You said he walked over to the left-hand side where there were coffee drinks, and there he is at the self-checkout on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see the light shirt, dark pants.
Yeah, and you could see he put it next to the machine and registered it. Now he's putting a card or something right there, and he's going to pay for it, and he puts it in the bag in a moment here, and
he's in the store,
then just walks out nonchalantly.
7 minutes.
Yeah,
he's in the store for 7 minutes total. It comes out with a bag, and I think what you had mentioned was the coffee drink, which made me wonder: was he going into the Costco? And by the way, I can't help but just note that this is like the first close up, of his face as he's walking by this camera in the Albertsons. And I think we've got a slow down version of it, so you just sort of catch it a little bit better. I just see, this is a guy who just doesn't seem to be concerned about anything. And it is astounding to see all these people who crossed paths with a maniacal killer, having no idea who was in their midst. All the while, they were all about to find out about the hell that had happened, in the town just 30 minutes away. But he's walking away, and I guess the assumption is that he wanted to go to Costco to get this coffee drink, maybe drove right by Kate's, didn't realize it was open maybe, and then ended up at this Albertsons to get whatever it is in that bag and maybe the coffee drink.
I wonder if at Kate's Cup of Joe they have a break time, They have to have lunch too, so it's possible he was there, but it'd be kind of stupid to take a break right when most people would want to go get a coffee, like right during their lunchtime.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like,
he leaves the store.
Yep.
He leaves the store. He leaves the store at 12:58, and this is him again heading back out across the Albertsons parking lot with that bag, and heading towards the car. I keep wondering, Gray, if this, where are we in the process of him getting rid of evidence? Has he done it in the 8 hours leading up to this, prior to getting back to his apartment and showering? Is he still got evidence in that car that he plans to ditch? Because he's in Clarkston. He's 33 miles south of Pullman and Moscow here.
Yeah, my thing is I'm not sure. I'm wondering if this whole trip down here because he must have turned his phone off right after he leaves right here at 104. You see it at the top there. It's almost like he turned his phone off, and because it was 4.5 hours later that he turns it on near Johnson, Washington at 5:32 to 5:36, and that's right near where there's this tree that somebody said they saw a white vehicle parked next to, and then when law enforcement went out there, they saw that the earth was disturbed, and they checked around with the metal detectors and so forth, and he didn't find anything. If this was like the scouting mission, and then he goes and collects the knife and the clothing at like 5:32, 5:40-ish time frame, and then he takes those items and puts it somewhere where he's aware. Now he's scouted out, he puts it there, and then he doesn't turn his phone back on again until 8:30 when he's back in Pullman. So he turned it off during all that crucial time frame. So that's kind of how I'm thinking it's a possibility.
It's fascinating because he gets into that he gets into his car at Albertsons at 1:04 and sat in the car for 6 minutes before leaving. Or rather, he gets back to the car at 12:58. He leaves the parking lot at 1:04. So he's 6 minutes in that parking lot. Maybe again on the phone with mother. Don't know, but. For the next 5 hours, as you mentioned so astutely in your videos, he is off the radar. Gray, fantastic journalism, just really great, because this has been so chilling. So many people wondering, what are all the blanks in this story that we didn't learn because there was no trial? And as it were, things are going to drop. Eventually, we will hopefully learn a lot more about what he did, why he did it. We're not there yet, but every little piece is a part of the puzzle. Great work. Thank you for coming on to share that with me. I really appreciate it, Gray.
No problem. You want to hear one last thing really quick? Check this out. You can, in the other surveillance footage that I got, 3 times you can see it's missing a front license plate. You see it when it's driving by A&W at 5:25 in the morning, and then at 9:13 when it comes back into Moscow, Idaho, it all shows it not having a front plate. I couldn't believe it. I was just going, this is crazy.
For those who want to watch a lot more of your videos as you continue to drop them, because Gray has more coming, everybody. Check him out on YouTube at Gray Hughes Investigates. I hope you come back on with us again as we continue to look at all of this material that's dropping. Thanks, Gray.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.